What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, the heart and soul of authentic football fan culture. Straight out of Manchester, you tuned in to our Thursday breaking news show. And just straight off the bat, I want to say congratulations to all the kids getting the GCSEs today. But it still seems like there is an ex-Liverpool player who didn't pass his punditry exam and he's about to be schooled. So we're going to discuss Matthjis De Ligt article that's been put out by The Athletic and a couple of interesting stories in there, which I think you're going to want to hear. Ugarte deal in advanced stages could be done within the next couple of hours. That's reports coming out from France. A sly move for the Atalanta midfielder Ederson. Alfredo Padula from Italy reporting that. And we'll talk about Ben Chilwell if we've got time. I mean, we really need to cover it, but it is news that's been surfacing slightly with all the shit that's going on around Chelsea at the minute, like a house on fire. How are we doing, lads?
Yeah, doing well.
Yeah, not too bad. Was
that an advert playing in the background then or something?
When I have to check the stream because I'm getting levels on my end, but I need to check the stream is actually producing sound.
I thought someone was like, does that sound like a woman in the background or something? I was like, what the fuck? All right, anyway, onto this delay article. So, PSG, I've basically summed it up. I'm not going to go through the full article and leave you there for 20 minutes. So, PSG, Bayern, and Pep all interested in Matthjis De Ligt at different stages. Apparently, Pep wanted to bring him in, but there was a couple of kind of bits around that. And also, during this transfer, PSG were really, really interested in him, but he gave obviously priority to Manchester United. And the reasons for this, he said professionalism, he said because of Ten Hag, he said because of the project, despite not being in the Champions League. And also a reporter was around there, according to De Ligt's camp, the player was also told by Vincent Kompany that he was not responsible for the decision. And actually Vincent Kompany said to De Ligt that he is his number one defender. But, Sam, we have an agenda in the media, which we've discussed kind of briefly before. Graham Souness says no one wanted him, so I thought that meant Graham Souness is as right as always.
The oracle that is Graham Souness, who's totally right on everything. It seems to be a Scouse agenda more than anything, doesn't it? Just anytime United signs someone or United player is starting to on the rise, they just seem to come in and try and tear it down in some ways because obviously we ruined their careers when they were playing because we were dominant at that time. And then still, even after that, when we've been shit, they've won one league title in 30 years, but go on about it like it's the greatest achievement of all time. But I digress. It's weird. It's like, oh, no, why is he leaving Bayern? And if he's that good, Barca wanted him. And now, obviously, let's look at Barca for what they are. They're a mess of a club right now. So, that on its own is probably not a good sign. City wanted him in 2019, which is that at Juve, I believe? Or was that when he moved to Bayern?
Just moved to Juve.
Yeah, so City wanted him. City don't buy shit players normally, do they? If you look at their team, they're not historically full of shit players. I know they get the odd one wrong here and there, but historically, done quite well in the transfer market. And then PSG as well, who pick up the youngest, most exciting, best talent in the world. Now, obviously, it doesn't always work out at PSG because they've got so many and people just end up not getting into the team, as we're seeing with Manuel Ugarte and people like that. And you probably see it with maybe João Neves falls down the pecking order as well. You never know. Things happen like that. So if those teams are interested in a guy like that at that age profile, even if he's not wanted at Juve, which is not true, and he's not wanted at Bayern, which is obviously not true either, because Vincent Kompany literally said you're my number one defender, and the board wants to sell you. It's not my choice.
He's a defender,
so he knows what he's talking about in a successful City side. So it's just so full. It's like they can't. I don't understand how this agenda keeps getting pushed and people keep falling for it when it's clearly so untrue. It's the holes in it are clear for everybody to see. Carragher about Lisandro Martinez, and it took him a season and a half before he walked those comments back quick, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because as soon as there's that, and then Pep starts going, one of the greatest centre backs of all time and stuff like that, that's gotten quiet now, and nobody says shit about Lisandro Martinez anymore. So yeah, it's the same old thing, like you said, media-driven agenda by people whose career was ruined by United or their childhood was ruined by United, and they just fucking hate us, and we're just trying to constantly tear us down.
It's annoying because it's Talk Sport, their whole model is to get emotional reaction
Outrage.
out of fans and outrage. And they do it. It's a guaranteed model because people can't help but feel outraged by the shit that they're putting out. And they purposely say certain lines or key words to trigger United fans. So it works in that respect. But there is no respect because it's a flawed kind of thing. They don't make valid, great points. They don't even back it up. They just kind of copy and paste, what's been read online or what other people have said, and then kind of, try put it on United. Very, very bizarre. But if he lives up to his potential, Shreyas, 38 million is going to look like a fucking steal, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and you can see that the potential is definitely there. The age profile is definitely there. If it works out for us, you've got a very skilled and a very decent centre back for probably the next 7 to 8 seasons. At least the next 7 to 8 seasons. He's still very young and he's already got a lot of leadership traits. He's a very strong figure. Mentally as well on the pitch, he's a very, very good figure to have. And like I said, the players that he has been able to learn off from, the players that he's worked alongside with, the kind of defensive, knowledge that he has actually gained from the teams that he's played with, whether it's Bayern Munich, whether it's the Netherlands national team, whether it's at Ajax or at Juventus, he's got the tools to be one of the best centre backs, in the coming time. And I think having a manager that he's worked with before, having a good awareness as to how this manager would like to play on the pitch, how he needs to conduct himself on the pitch, and also having some known figures in that backline, like players like Lisandro Martinez, players like Mazraoui he has worked with before as well, Onana he's worked with before as well, Antony he's worked with before as well. So it helps in integrating with the team when you've got players that you worked with before, they're already present in the team. It does help in actually easing your way into the team. And I still think, and I think that he's got the right tools to be a Manchester United centre back in the coming time, and I think he'll get as much support from the manager, as much support from this fan base and the team as well. So I think, considering his age and everything, the fact that we've just paid 38 million, it might actually end up sounding like a bargain, considering how much we've paid for defenders who have been hit or miss, or a big gamble. We've ended up paying like 70 or 80 odd million for these players. 38 million in that regard, I think Ineos have done a very, very good job in this transfer window.
Any initial concerns internally, Sam, about De Ligt? About, obviously we got a brief cameo, didn't we, in the last game, so you can't really judge him off that. But maybe a certain style, the way he plays, maybe a bit of a transitional, or will there be no transitional kind of phase because he's worked under Ten Hag before?
I think there's a couple of things in his positive column, isn't there? Like you said, he's worked under Ten Hag before. He's played in Highline systems before, obviously Ajax. Don't think Juventus played that way, and I think that's probably why it tactically didn't work for him too much, because obviously they were with Bonucci and Chiellini, weren't they? Who, let's face it, they were like, 36, 37, and they're not going to play a high line, and it's just not the way they play. Was it under what's he called, Allegri? Was that the Juventus manager at the time?
There was a few, so Sarri, Allegri, and Pirlo, I think.
Yeah, not the most attacking highline sort of coach tactically. So yeah, I think that was the thing. And then obviously at Bayern, they do play slightly different, but again, they had a lot of managers rolled through, quite a few managers under that time as well. Tuchel's a very different style to Hansi Flick, for example, and Vincent Kompany, very, very different to Tuchel in the same way. So there's a couple of things there. So his adaptability is going to be a big question, but I think he should be fine. The experience that he has playing in the different leagues that he has, the winning mentality that he has, the sharpness that I've seen from him, like just in the few training clips, he looks sharp, he looks ready, he's a leader. I think all those things will help him adapt a lot quicker than, say, a Lenny Yoro, for example, who's young, he's 18, first professional season last year, and he's coming to the Premier League, though I think he'll be fine as well because he looks like a class player from the small amount I've seen. And then he's playing next to Lisandro, he didn't play with Lisandro, did he? I think he left before Lisandro came.
Yeah, he left. He left and then Lisandro came in.
Yeah, but he's playing with Matthjis, who's probably going to play in that right back or left back position, while we have no solid left back at the minute. So he's got somebody there who knows him. He knows Lisandro comes from Ajax, and there'll be a relationship there as well, because it's a similar. Ajax have played the same way for years, like very similar type. So yeah, I think he'll be okay. I think that's. I don't have any worries about it and that sort of thing. The injury was always the worry with me. Like they had the massive injury. I think much has been made out of it, way more than people like actually know about. Like if you look at the amount of games he played for Bayern and the amount of games he's missed, it's actually pretty good. And he actually played more games than Lindelof, Maguire, and somebody else last season. So if he's available more than they are, I think we'll be all right. So yeah, the injuries were the only concern for me. Everything else, I think he's an excellent player, and I think he'll be absolutely fine.
Well, that's the looming question mark over both players in it, Shreyas, with Lisandro and De Ligt, because obviously Lisandro had so much time out since he's joined United, and then De Ligt has had, a couple ones at Bayern where he does have periods where he's up 6 to 9 games or whatever. But because you have Lenny Yoro and Maguire, by the way, who looks like he's in, kind of bang on form, you've got actually a decent pool of centre backs there. Now we imagine obviously Lisandro and De Ligt probably going to start together as the main partnership. How do you see that blossoming?
I think it can work because once again, both these players, I think when it comes to being able to complement Lisandro in that back line, I think a couple of areas where Lisandro does lack, I think De Ligt can cover those areas, and then certain areas where De Ligt lacks, like you mentioned the other day, when he comes up against strikers like Gabriel Jesus and those strikers who rely more, on their footwork and their center of gravity on the ball. That's an area where De Ligt does struggle against those sort of strikers, but Lisandro is able to tackle those sort of strikers really well throughout his Manchester United career. So I think both of these guys as a partnership can actually work really well. Whether it can work, with the type of system that Ten Hag is working with right now, with the fullbacks actually, being able to progress around as well, when you've got both the centre backs actually, stepping up in order to raise the line. So I think finding the balance with it would take some time, but there is a very, very good shot of this actually working out. And when you've got players like Lenny Yoro, when you've got players like Maguire with the kind of form that he is in, you've got decent options to work around with. If you can see that Lisandro and De Ligt are struggling as a duo, and obviously I think it will take them some time to actually gel up and find that balance. Lenny Yoro can step in and can do a very good job. Maguire can step into games and put a shift in and actually do a good job. So having this sort of competition and options is what we needed at United for quite some time, because even last season we've seen Varane goes out, our squad struggles. Lisandro goes out, we can't even play out the back quite well. We always struggle and we end up making mistakes whenever Lisandro is not present in that back line. So having De Ligt come in, having Lenny Yoro come in as well, who are both very good on the ball. They know how to spread the ball out, from the deep end. I think it definitely, works out quite well for us. And having those options, it creates that sort of, a head scratch for any other manager as well, because even they wouldn't really know whether it's going to be De Ligt or Lisandro, whether it would be Yoro and Lisandro or Yoro and Maguire. So keeping that sort of unpredictability does help.
Let's look at a team, and I think the triangle base is one of the most important factors. So when Ten Hag first came in, you had it would have been De Gea, no, not De Gea, sorry, it would have been Lisandro, Varane, and Casemiro. Now that was great when it worked, and when Varane was fit and available, when Casemiro was fit and available. But now, if you change that to Lisandro, De Ligt, and Ugarte, 23, 24, 25. You've then got years for them to blend together, and injury record aside, that could be really, really good in the system that we're playing. So I want to see them play repetitively and get that kind of connection, because I think they can all complement each other in their own right. So that, for me, is exciting. And I think De Ligt, personally, I've said it, I think it'll be a hit. I think it'll be a success. But yeah, time will only tell, I suppose. Right, let's go to the comments.
Can I just say as well, I like every single player that we're targeting is under 25 or like under like that, and we're targeting younger players. So like you said, you got longevity for the team to think, and then we're already looking at possible replacements for players we know might be up in terms of age and stuff like that. So like we'll touch on Ederson later, who's a young midfielder that you look at. We've like looking at Jared Brandthwaite, he's 22, so it's like he could come in and be your Maguire replacement, who's like it's 30 stuff. So we're already looking at people to replace the people who are already at the club, which something we never did before. Something we just till the wheels fall off and we let them go on a free and they retire somewhere on like thing like Varane, for example. I like the way we're doing it now. It's so much better.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear everyone else's opinions on that situation, just about De Ligt in general, or Ugarte, or how Ineos have done over the summer. Get them in, because I'm going to go to your comments now, and please do smash the like in the video for us. There's over 40 of you in the chat, so yeah, get those likes smashing. Charlie Malman-Souness, he is the most grumpy, out-of-touch pundit there is. He does not know football anymore. He could not judge a player when they are standing in front of him. Richard saying, I think Graham Souness and Mark Goldbridge should do a show together because they both know fuck all about football. Sourness, I like that. Graham Souness and Mark Goldturd should have a celebrity death match if anybody remembers that. I mean, Goldbridge's been dragged into it here. Jonathan Ball, in De Ligt and Martinez and Yoro, you have a high-quality centre-back unit where players can interchange without loss of quality. Thank you for that, Jonathan.
That was our whole issue, wasn't it? It's like as soon as the first team players came out, the quality depth just into the absolute ocean. Yeah. Whereas now, if it's like, De Ligt don't play, Yoro comes in. Like it's equal, if not better. And it's like if Dallo can't play, Matsuari comes in, the drop isn't that much. So it's like that's what you want. You want squad depth. So like if you do have to rotate or there is injuries, your season isn't absolutely derailed, which is what happened last season. Our season just got absolutely destroyed because of injuries.
Now, Jithin Joseph has put something in and it leads us nicely into our next topic. If we cave in and pay 51 million for Ugarte, my head will be on Mars. Anything above 43 mil is an utter disgrace. So let's read the most recent report coming out from Ben Jacobs and L'Equipe, obviously a French outlet. Ben Jacobs saying Manchester United and PSG are now in advanced talks with Manuel Ugarte, loan with obligation formula. United are optimistic and PSG have stuck to their €6 million valuation throughout. The clubs are much closer to an agreement now. And then L'Equipe put negotiations between United and PSG for a loan deal, around £51 million for Ugarte, is set to be successful. The positions of both clubs became very close yesterday evening, and the deal could be finalised within the next couple of hours. Now, Shreyas, I'll go to you first on this one. Just on him, are you excited about the prospect of signing him? Have you watched any highlight clips of Uruguay? Because I don't know if you've seen Uruguay, because of your boy Palistra, R.I.P. Yeah, are you excited about what he can offer?
I think, definitely. I think even in Uruguayan shirt as well. I think what this team actually, I think Ten Hag likes that South American flair in his defensive players. And Ugarte as well. He's very fiery on the pitch. He likes to make those tackles. He likes to get physical. He likes to impose, his presence in that midfield as well, which might actually help Kobbie Mainoo a lot as a partner, because I think Kobbie Mainoo can. He does have the stature of actually matching his opponents physically and impose his presence on the pitch, but he's still very, very young. It will still take him some time to actually reach to that point where I can say that, even if you're coming up against a team like a Brentford or those sort of teams that, just like to play rough and tough and scrappy football in the midfield, he can handle it. I think he still needs that sort of strong figure and strong partner who can actually, just clear out the way for him and just let him dribble past or just let him progress with the ball forward. So Ugarte is definitely a very, very good option to have in that I would say position, and it also actually creates an option for us to in set games where if you want Casemiro and Ugarte to actually close out a game, you're 2-0 up ahead, 70 minutes down, get Casemiro on, just close out the game. And having Ugarte in, it does create a lot more options for us in that midfield to choose from, whether it's Casemiro, Mainoo and Bruno, whether it's Ugarte, Mainoo and Bruno, Ugarte, Casemiro and Mount. So there's actually a lot of options to choose from. And having these sort of options, even if you have to, bring them off from the bench, at least the quality doesn't drop off to a point where, you're just waiting for the last 20 minutes of the game to end, and, you're panicking every single second because you just don't know what's going to happen. We've had seasons before it where we've been playing quite well, we've been dominating the game, and then at that 70th or 75th mark, when the moment we make those sort of substitutions, like Ederson is coming on, or in the first season of Ten Hag, Fred used to come on or McTominay used to come on, we could see spaces opening up, we could see the quality drop off, and it was very, very evident. I think having Ugarte in does clear out a massive chunk of that problem, because you've got Ugarte, you've got Casemiro, and both of them, they can form a very good partnership. And even, like you mentioned, Ugarte is also South American, can actually learn quite a bit from Casemiro.
I've heard him being described, Sam, as like Gattuso, Mascherano, Kante, perfect ball winner. This is from South American journalists who have covered him extensively. What role do you think Casemiro will play now if Ugarte comes in?
We've seen, I think, obviously it's early days because we've had one game of the season, but we saw a couple of sort of elements of preseason. He looks more like the Casemiro we got in the first season. Like he looks more active, he looks more switched on. He's trimmed down a little bit, like in terms of his size. So he looks better than he did. And I think having Ugarte that allows us to play like Casemiro in certain games like once a week, because obviously we're going to be in the Europa League, which has got more games this year. We've obviously got the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, so we're going to have a shit ton of games, like just absolute shit ton of games. So I think being able to play Casemiro just the once a week and keep him fresh and keep him firing, and then have Ugarte come in and do jobs against certain teams that where you maybe need that more solid base, like say against the Liverpool, against an Arsenal, against the City, where you need that solid base. You can bring the Ugarte in and stuff like that, and then you can maybe even play Casemiro in the 8, because we know how good he is, like in set pieces, getting on the end of things. We know how he likes to shot and he can score goals and he's a goal threat, much like Scott McTominay is when we bring him on. I think you could use that as well. That's another tactical option. Or if you want to rest him, you put Ugarte in the 6, you could put Mount in the 8, you could put Kobbie Mainoo in the 8, and you can switch. You've got options, you've got rotation options. So if you need a bit more, say you need like a dogged midfield, you need hard work, you need people to put in miles and minutes and tackles and stuff. You have a midfield of a Ugarte, Mount, and then a Bruno. That's a fucking engine of a midfield, that, innit? And you can just break up, say like a City or something, where they've just got so many fantastic people who like to go into the midfield. That's a great way to sort of build that up.
Yeah.
But say you're playing against, I don't know, an Ipswich or something like that, where they might sit back a little more. They might sort of like think. You could then play maybe the Casemiro in there with Kobbie and Bruno, and you could push up a little bit and not have to worry too much about going backwards and stuff like that. And then you bring on Ugarte towards the end, say you've got 2-0. It's like, right, let's shut this game off, bring Ugarte on, just stop anything coming through, because obviously they're going to push up now, try and get a goal, and you can just shut it off. So you just got options, man. There's so many different tactical flexibilities and tactical options, whereas last season it was Casemiro or nothing. That was literally it, because Scott McTominay can't play there. Mount can't play there. Kobbie tried to play there. I think it's just too much to ask of that kid, like to do that job. It's just far too much, and I think he's a lot better in the 8 anyway. So it just gives us tactical flexibility depending on who we're playing, the amount of games you've got, what games you've got coming up, etc. I think it's amazing, man. Like how many options we might now have going, not just in the defense but in the midfield and the forward line. Like we're getting there. I'd obviously like one more midfielder. I just don't think we're going to get one, unfortunately. But I would love another one, because that would then be like, yeah, I'm well happy with it.
Well, speaking of another midfielder, Sean saying, I think we're putting in the groundwork for Ederson for when Ederson, McTominay, and Casemiro go. Maybe. I can see us going in for him, in January or even next summer if someone else doesn't sign him by then. Depth is needed. And we had Alfredo Padula from Italy last night saying we've made a 42 million bid for the Brazilian midfielder. I don't know if that's just a nothing story or if there was something in it. It's hard to tell sometimes with the Italian press, because they push certain things. But that is, if they are doing groundwork on that, then, absolutely fantastic. And I think we could do with that's the one concern I have. If you sell McTominay, don't just use that money towards Ugarte, replace McTominay, because you're losing 10 goals there, whichever way you look at it. So I think it's vital. It's
not fair to ask Collier to try and fill that void either. Yeah. Like, it's not fair to go, well, McTominay's gone, now you're gonna have to do this job. I just think that's a bit unfair. I like you said, I'd prefer somebody else to come in, and then Collier then doesn't have the pressure having to sort of consistently step up and fulfill that role.
Yeah. Steph saying centre-back partnership is crucial. Dolly and Daisy, a.k.a. Pally and Bruce, so now Licha and Litty with Euro to return. I like that. People don't seem to know De Ligt is actually close to being both-footed. He's right-footed, but his left foot is very good. He can play the left centre-back as well. I've read reports about that. This team will only become more dangerous. We're clearly finally moving forward. Elite Roller says, keep rolling. Yep. If you watched the show last night, you'll know what that's about. So many comments. Thank you very much for all the comments. Please do, if you are just joining, subscribe to the channel and smash a like on the video. Just scroll down a bit because there's that many. Mark Palmer, did someone actually say they were more excited for Berg than Ugarte? Don't know.
People have got opinions, mate. Is what it is.
Yeah. Toby Collier will learn massively from both Casemiro and Ugarte. I tell you what, his training regime and nutrition will go up, because the amount of running that Ugarte does, my God. You think Bruno does a lot of running? Waiting to see Ugarte. Yeah. Do you think capable competition for Casemiro make him pull his finger out? Well, yeah, that as well. I think we're not even really touched on that, have we, lads? I think, having someone behind him where it's like you're not going to guarantee to play every single game could give you a bit of a kick up the arse. But he's been all right since the start of the season.
I think it's the pressure as well, because you saw when he played for Madrid, there wasn't that much pressure because he was playing behind Cruz and Modric a lot of the time. And it's like, that's quite pressure free in terms of thing. But if he knows he's got somebody that he plays next to Ugarte, or say he knows, oh, my fitness isn't quite there, I know where to fill in, maybe the pressure goes away a little bit. I think maybe sometimes he thinks when he's on the pitch, he has to do everything. And that's when he rushes into tackles or he misplaces something. And I think he tries too hard and ends up putting us in a vulnerable position.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, we have to move on to the news that I just can't be asked discussing, but it is news and we are a news channel, so we've got to put it out there. Ben Chilwell, lads, is the answer just simply no from both of you?
Shouldn't even be considered.
Yeah. I mean, like, a left back who's more injury prone than Luke Shaw is the craziest shit I've ever heard.
Let's have 3 left backs in the fucking treatment room all at the same time. Like, why? Yeah. Why would we do that?
And have no update about when any of them will be back.
Yeah, just a guessing game basically for who's going to play at left back. Keep the other teams guessing. How do you feel about the current left back situation, Shreyas, at the minute? Are you confident in it? Do you think United turning down the chance to sign one? You know, even though the list was pretty shit, if you're looking at Marcus Alonso and players like that in terms of like free or cheap or them kind of ones. Yeah, how do you feel about the situation in general?
It's not looking good, to be very honest with you, because I get the point that, they're trying to look out for someone who can fit into that role and make that position their own. But I think going into a season without any option creates a much bigger of an issue, because I don't want us to be in a situation where Shaw is out for a long time, which I know he will be. Malacia, there is still no update on whether he'll actually be back and be playing for us. There is still nothing concrete on that as well. So these are the only 2 natural left backs that we've got at the club. Dalot can do a good job there, and Mazraoui can do a good job as well. But then you're once again in that situation where, if either of Mazraoui or Dalot get injured, you're left with no fit natural fullback in one of those slots. So we do need to go in for someone. We do need someone who can naturally play in that left back position. And maybe, don't think of it as a long-term plan. I get that. You've still got a couple of prospects coming through from the academy as well. Give them time to develop. Maybe they can, progress into that role quite well. But even if I would say, make a makeshift signing or just a loan signing for just 1 season, so that you've at least got a body there who can come in and actually naturally play in that position, I would go in for that one, because at least having someone in there who can do a job is much better rather than having no one. And then you're, in a place where you're having to play players out of position, having to play Lindelof as a fullback in that area, or probably having to shift Lisandro out in that position if players are not fit enough to play in that position. So it will create a massive issue. So I think in the time that's left in this window, we still do need to go in for a left back.
What are you saying, Sam Chilwell on the back of your shirt this season?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I really like Shaw. Like I'm a massive fan of him, but I think I said end of last season in the season review, I would sell him just because this thing is going to keep happening where he's not available, and it's just we can't rely on him, and use the money to go and get a fit first choice left back. Haven't done that, and I think the Athletic reported basically we're not going to sign a left back this summer, which is worrying, and it's clear that Ten Hag doesn't quite think Amas is ready yet, because otherwise we would have seen him. He didn't start in the Community Shield. He didn't start. I don't think he was even on the bench against Fulham, I believe. So
yeah, he won.
It's clear that he thinks he's not ready yet, but he'll get minutes here and there, I'm sure. So yeah, it's worrying, man. Like much like an extra midfielder, the left back position is now becoming a worry because, like Shreyas mentioned, well, last year we don't know if he'll ever be back. Or if he is, like how long it's going to take him to get back to full fitness and sharpness. Shaw, it's just a constant guessing game, innit? It's just a constant guessing game. Will he be fit for this point? No, after the international break happens, he's had a setback. And it's just continuing and continuing on. Like, it just never stops. So I knew we weren't going to be able to address everything this summer, and I didn't expect that too. But I think, the left back is now becoming a glaring hole in our squad. And it worries me for the season. Like Shreyas said, if Matthjis or Dalot get injured, we're kind of screwed. Like we don't have anybody to play there. Like really, really screwed.
We've got John Omahone saying Reguilon back. What do you think, Shreyas?
I'd take it.
I'd take him because once again, at least he's a natural left back, and in set games he can actually come in and do a job for us. And when it comes to the type of fullbacks that Ten Hag likes to work with, I don't think he cares as much for their defensive quotient as much as he cares for the attacking side of things. And if you look at Reguilon just as an attacking fullback, he's actually a very decent person, decent person to have in that position. Defensively, he does struggle. He does have his vulnerability when it comes to the defensive transitions, but attacking wise, he's actually quite decent. And like you said, it will only be a loan deal. So, for one season, you get someone like a Reguilon in, and when you move into the upcoming season, you make that left back position a priority signing, and then you can get someone in who.
Don't send it back in January like you did last time. Either.
Yeah. Don't send him back in January for no good reason. You can keep him, and I think he can do a job for us, at least in set games. Like if you want someone in the cup games, in the league games, or even in the Europa League games, where you want other players to come in and rest players like Mazraoui and Dalot, you can have Reguilon playing in that position, because I still think that the academy prospects that we've got coming in from that left back position, they do look bright, but it is still very very early for them. They still need some time to mature up and develop. So we do need to look at alternatives within this season itself.
At least they've worked with him before, like you say, and you know what you're going to get with him, and can be an addition if he's happy to, when the other lads come back, kind of fight it out. But yeah, I mean there is a lot of games, so they might be okay.
If they come back, like we don't even know if they are going to come back.
Yeah, true.
Like, we could be sat here at the end of this season. Luke Shaw's played 5 games and Malacia hasn't made it back. Like we could well be there. We could well be looking at it and going, we've not had a left back all season, like a fit left back. So again. So yeah, I think next summer that has to be probably, if we sign Ugarte in, I think the number 1 position either in January or next summer has to be a left back.
Yeah, left back.
Craig the Unicorn saying Shaw will be back for the international break. He'll miraculously be ready for the England game. If he's playing for England, I'm done with that guy.
I'll be furious.
Completely.
And then he comes back injured.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just no. UTFR with a slightly different analytical comment. Chilwell is wank and constantly injured. For me, the best option is at Hermoso on a free. But Hermoso has a very big wage, demanding like £200,000 a week.
What was the statement you read out about him from the people who've watched him as well? Makes a lot of mistakes, rushes into stuff, can be sent off, and it has injuries. It's like.
And is primarily a centre back who's sluggish.
Like let's not do this.
We're not considering Chilwell. That's paper and agent. So I know we know this. We know it's just it gets reported. We discussed it. We're not saying Chilwell's going to sign for United. Do you see a left back as the priority next summer once we know how Amas is developing and if Marcel can actually walk? Yeah, I'm sure it's one that definitely assessing and keeping an eye on. And I do think you need to go big on that position next season. That'll be go get. I don't know who's kind of flying about at the minute, but someone who's young, 20 or 21. Someone like that, left back at Girona, I forgot his name. Gutierrez, is it?
Yeah.
Gutierrez,
someone like that, go and invest in someone, and their injury record's fucking squeaky clean. Yeah. That's what I'd do anyway. Would you take João Gomez from Wolves? I hadn't seen him a lot. I watched the Arsenal game and specifically watched him. Didn't think he had a great game, personally. But that's just one sample, guys, so I don't know.
Left back, I really, really like Robinson from Fulham. I really like him. He's really good. I would, if we can, go after him.
Yeah,
that's who I would go get.
Yeah, great.
If we can swap McTominay with him, I'll take that.
Yeah. Well, they've just got Sanderturd now, haven't they? So I think
they're going for that. Who's the other midfielder they're going for as well? They've just had a bid accepted recently. Let me Google him.
Yeah, I'll look at that. I'll read this. Jamie McGrogan, do we think there'll be a big winger clear out next summer based on how they all do this year? So I'll answer that humbly because I think I'm very interested in that winger situation. Ahmad's got a year left on his contract or something like that, so they need to sort that out immediately. So I think they'll give him a new contract extension. Garnacho's an obvious one that you need to keep hold of. And then the others, I think, I'd accept bids for if decent bids came in.
Anthony, I think Anthony will.
Sancho, Rashford.
If Rashford has another bad season like he's had last season, I think he'll be gone.
60 mil,
I think this is the max. I think this is the maximum time that he is getting this season. If it doesn't work out this year, I think he'll be gone. Garnacho would be the first choice in that position, and we'll be looking at someone else to actually, come into that position. And we've got a couple of good wingers actually coming through from the academy ranks as well. So and if Ten Hag actually ends up staying, we all know that he wants at least 2 players or 3 players coming through from the academy into this first team every single season. So I think Rashford, I think Sancho would definitely be gone. I don't see him actually staying. I think Anthony would most likely be gone as well. Rashford is a 50-50 option.
I think we missed a massive opportunity on the market. Desire Doué, who's just gone to PSG. Top winger. Someone like him. I didn't think it was like overly expensive, but he looks very, very exciting. So yeah, hopefully someone like that floating about at the time. But that's for next.
Rayan Shekri from
Leon.
Well, yes,
Leon.
Yeah, they've submitted a £12 million bid that's been accepted by Leon. So
yeah. Junior Gabber asking the same question. You take João Gomez from Wolves. Hopefully we covered that for you. So many comments. Random guy, as always, the absolute fucking legend that he is with a super chat. Thank you very much, Random. Appreciate you, brother. Barca want De Ligt title. Yeah, so there was quite a few clubs being reported around Matthijs De Ligt that were interested in PSG, Barcelona, obviously Bayern Munich wanted to keep him, or Vincent Kompany, sorry, wanted to keep him, and City were interested back in 2019 as well. So, yeah.
Important question there, Nick. Elite baller. Question, Nick and Sam, spaghetti hoops or beans?
If you eat spaghetti hoops, I just can't. I don't think I'll have a conversation with you. It's got to be beans, man. Spaghetti hoops is one of those things. If you've got fuck all in, you're a uni student, and you've got bread in, your spaghetti hoops on toast.
That's poverty food, that, isn't it?
That really
poverty.
is. Yeah.
Beans, beans all the way. Beans all the way.
Hoops.
Absolutely beans all the way.
At this point, I'd be happy with just getting, whilst not ideal, Leach and Mazzara and Dallo can cover all left back until Shaw unless you get fit. We're pinning our hopes on Casemiro in the 6 at the moment. It's risky. Other people saying Robinson from Fulham. Yeah. So many comments. Thank you so much to everyone. Subscribe if you're new, if you're just joining and you're thinking what's going on here. Bradley Loco looks like the left back who Ineos are keen on and he's cheap. I agree 100 Nick, Garnacho and Ahmad stay no matter what, and all the others a fair game. Question, rate Bruno's performance out of 10 versus Fulham, considering he messed up 2 great chances to score. Shreyas, you take that one?
I'll say 6.5 because he still looked all right, barring those 2 chances. He still looked sharp. Once again, I think him and Mount, when we are pressing off the ball, the amount of area they cover, the way they're able to sync up their runs, they still looked quite bright, even though they missed their chances. So, I think I expect a good game from Bruno in the upcoming 2 fixtures as well, against Brighton as well as Liverpool.
Yeah, I agree. Sam, this one I'll throw to you. Do you think Rashford will have a good season? Do you see him coming good?
I hope so. I think his attitude seems better. He seems more switched on. Seems like he's interested in the game, which I didn't see at all last season. His finishing still needs work. There was obviously a couple of opportunities. He fluffed his lines against Fulham, and then that last one with the shitty pass to Garnacho, and then Garnacho absolutely just spooning that. That needs to be worked on. But positioning is good. He looks like his work rate's better. If he can get his finishing on detail and get it to the point where he's getting decent shots on target or he's scoring goals, I don't see why not. But yeah, he's got to improve that finishing, man. But it's the first couple of games, get your sharpness back. Let's see what happens. If, like I said the other day, if we're on game week 12 and he's still doing that, then we're going to start to worry.
You've got trouble.
Yeah. Jonathan Ball, Bayern gone from the best run club in the world to an absolute mess. Yeah, that whole saga with managers over the summer was like insane. Chelsea, wasn't it? Almost.
Insane.
Like the amount of things he was chasing. I unsubscribed because you diss spaghetti hoops jokes. Listen, one thing I'll always be, elite baller, is honest. If you ask me a question, I'll be honest. So
we're not judging you. We're not judging you, but you're wrong.
You're
wrong.
Hoops
you're wrong, elite baller, but we're not judging you.
Yeah, you do what you want, mate. Meatballs and gravy on toast is the ultimate uni food. Yeah, I mean that's taking it to another level. Pot noodle sandwiches. Yeah, you can keep going with it. Heinz ravioli as a kid was lovely. Now it tastes like dog sick. I've not had Heinz ravioli in ages.
Dog sick, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's quite a way to describe it. People are just going in on food now. Sausage and beans, fish fingers, chips, waffles, beans. Elite kid scrannage. Yeah. There's a question for you. Shreyas, your favourite meal? We'll end with this. Favourite meal as a kid?
Favorite meal as a kid? Burger and fries.
Burger and fries. Okay. From a specific kind of franchise or just any kind of burger?
Burger King.
Burger King. Okay. It reminds me of airport food, Burger King.
Yeah.
Always.
It's a good airport option because it's a standard. Like, you know what you're going to get. And it's out of all the food in the airport, it's probably the most decently priced because everything else is fucking expensive.
And at 6 in the morning, you don't get judged because you're in an airport. So
you can have a pint. You can have a pint and you can have your Burger King, and it's fine.
No one gives a fuck.
Nobody cares.
You're in La La Land. It's great. What about yourself, Sam? Favorite meal as a kid?
Ooh, as a kid, I did love a spaghetti bolognese as a kid. I think that was one of my favorites. Yeah, I love a spaghetti. I love any sort of pasta, really. But yeah, spaghetti bolognese as a kid. Can't get away from pizza either. Pizzas are fantastic. The most average pizza is better than most meals. Like, if you go anywhere and you do an average pizza, you're always quite happy. Whereas if you go somewhere and you get an average burger, you're like, oh, that was a bit shit, that. But average pizza is always pretty good, I would say.
This is a very niche kind of shout, and I don't know if anyone's had these before. You can get, speaking of pasta, you get pasta packets, and it's like cheese and chive and ham or something, I think it is. Yeah. And you mix it with like milk and butter and cook it in a pan. Someone will know what I'm on about in the chat. They are fucking elite as like uni kind of cheap, food back in the day. That's what I'd go with. Yeah. Last few questions, and we are going to head off because I need to do some stuff after this show. I love spag ball from Richard. Nice. Can't beat Burger King. Well, nice pasta, beans, and cheese. Pasta, beans, and cheese. Oh my lord, Dan.
That sounds like
beans and pasta.
That sounds like somebody's vomited into a bowl. I don't like that at all. No.
Somewhere on the planet, fucking Gordon Ramsay going, come here, big boy. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely not. Sorry, Dan, but beans and pasta is sacrilegious, I would say. That is
wrong,
crazy.
Dan. You're so wrong.
Yeah. Unpopular opinion, I could go the rest of my life without eating pizza.
There's just nothing better than pizza, man. Pizza's amazing.
Jonathan.
Literally name me a shit pizza. There's nothing. All pizza is top. It's just top pizza. Disagree.
Jonathan.
You've just insulted an entire country as well, Jonathan, of Italy. Yeah. Italy are really upset at you.
Wow. Unpopular opinion, no doubt. This salmon's raw. Yeah, I had to read it out like that. It's from Elite Baller. Chili and pasta hits. Turkey Twizzlers. Wow.
They banned that, didn't they ban them?
Oh my god. They had. Because they were like dog Twizzlers or something on there. I don't know what fucking meat floating about in them, but something dodgy anyway.
It wasn't turkey.
Alex, 2-carb pizza sucks. Mate, if you think I'm worried about carbs, I don't know what you need to fucking... Yeah, I don't know what to say to you. Any pizza with onions on is shit. Pizza is tasty. Salt and sugar content high. Is that like a C or a B? So, yeah, so many comments floating in. Right, we'll leave it at that because the show's slowly getting derailed, as it always does. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the video we dropped yesterday, Ugarte versus Casemiro. Someone referenced it in the chat before, and I forgot to say. Very quickly, Joshua Owen says I get, what does he say? Something on the results?
I got a 4 on my recent maths exam. Congratulations, Joshua. Well done, mate. Yeah. Hope you're getting into uni or college or wherever it is you're going, mate.
Absolutely. Yeah. I big up everyone else. Have a wonderful rest of your day. It's nearly weekend, people, so we can actually finally relax and watch some football. Come and join us later on for the 7 o'clock show, where we'll have plenty more news to discuss. Big up Sam, big up Shreyas. And yeah, we'll see you later on in a bit.